So good afternoon and thank you for giving me this opportunity. I have large number of slides, but my slides are not busy slides, so it shouldn't bother you too much. I'm going to talk about evolution of MOOCs, and I call this evolution as an opportunity because according to me, disruption is destined to occur in education because of MOOCs and related activities, and our job should be to find out how we can make that disruption constructive. I'm going to briefly describe the learner's landscape. All of you are familiar with the learner's landscape in general, but I think I will add some more dimension to it which normally do not think of. I'll then briefly describe the educational technology, mostly what we have been doing at IIT Bombay, and then of course our experience with MOOCs. I'll conclude by suggesting some way forward. So this is an oxymoron. We have a problem of scale and we have a problem of diversity. Just to remind us of the statistics of circa 2011, 350 million Indians were younger than 14 years old at that point in time. They are all knocking at the higher education entry point now, and it's a humongous task. So you talk about gross enrollment ratio and all. Even if you have a 100% gross enrollment ratio, you are going to leave out more than half of this young population. And given the standard thumb rule of 10% people in any population segment being relatively smarter and more sort of inclined to do work, you are going to miss out on very many smart people. So that is a challenge. I will begin with the desire of an individual learner, which often we in academic institutions neglect or overlook. So skills, knowledge and livelihood. Nobody would be more familiar than this, than you in the notion that education for the sake of education is not adequate. It must lead to some livelihood. That's why you see all our students and all students everywhere struggling to get job. And once they get campus placement, they achieve nirvana. So they don't participate in academics. This is universal. But skills and knowledge are essential for any livelihood. What is most important and what we often neglect is that every learner wishes to have an opportunity to learn at own pace, as per one's own interest and as per one's own ability. And unfortunately, the system does not provide this opportunity absolutely to anybody as of today. So let me describe two hypothetical scenarios, not really too hypothetical. They are constructed out of my experience at IIT Bombay. I imagine two students of varied backgrounds. Both of them are smart, they have cracked JEE and they are there in the institute. And you know IIT Bombay really gets the toppers of the top. So there is no doubt about their basic capability. There is a course in computer programming in the first semester. It's an obligatory course. One student who has grown up in urban environment has done nauseating programming in 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th standard. He comes and tells me, sir, I don't need to do this course because I already learnt it. So I take him to head and my department head said, sorry, this is a compulsory course. So he says, I'll be wasting my time, just take my exam. So he says, no, exam will be at the end of the semester. He has to spend his one semester of equivalent of one course work practically doing nothing. Take another student who comes from some village near Jharsuguda, as smart, studied in Hindi, never seen a computer in his life. He is smart, he attends 1 week of course and says, sir, I will need 1 year to study this. I cannot study this course in one semester. I say, sorry boss, we have a semester system and you have to do it. I take him to head, any flexibility. So he says, if you fail in this course, we'll permit you to re-register for it next semester. It is not doing a course in 1 year. It is doing the course twice in 6 months each, which is not same at all. In short, the response of the system is, we have a semester pattern. Attendance is compulsory. We have fixed structure of courses. And please remember, only our degrees are recognized. And you must earn these the way we define. This, my dear friends, is the structured education all over the world, not only in India. We have borrowed and amplified some bad systems, such as the affiliation system of colleges being affiliated to university. I do not know whether you are aware that there are 4 great countries in the world which still continue with the affiliation system. These are India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. England, which started this, have corrected themselves long time ago. Every institution is autonomous. We are not. As a result, the structuring of the courses and fixed syllabus and the fixed pattern of examination guarantees that the conventional education need not necessarily end up making a learner better learned person at the end. If it happens incidentally, because after all, when you spend so much of time together, your mind will work in spite of you and you will learn something. But should that be the objective? That's a major question. It is in this context that MOOCs have arrived, and it is my contention that the ability of a learner to take courses from the best universities, to learn from the best teachers, is likely to make huge changes in the pattern of learning teaching. The only problem today is there is no recognition independent of the colleges and universities. So imagine a situation where employers like Tata Consultancy Services or Infosys says, I don't care whether you have a degree or not. Actually, my friend Mr. Ramdurai did that in TCS many years ago, when he said, instead of selecting engineers, I'll select science graduates and train them into programmers. They got 5,000 people with BSc background who would never ever be made programmers anywhere else. They turned out to be as good programmers as anybody else, because the fact of life is, if you have a logical bent of mind, programming is child's play real. Company in Pune, Persistent Systems, which runs online tests for people for joining them, and they require degrees, is going to experiment this October, saying if you do these online tests, even if you have no degree, if your performance is well, we'll employ you. These are signs indicating that in future decades, it is entirely possible for the employers to say, I am capable of judging the worth of a person through online tests and then filtering them for interviews. I don't need to filter them on the basis of their degrees and marks. Second, I don't see any relevance of their degrees as long as they are able to execute the jobs which are assigned to them. If that happens, will our established educational system afford to continue to have its arrogance, which is based on the fact that only our degrees are recognized, so you better do them? It won't affect IITs, IIMs and the top institutions, because they will always be seen as something extra, something different. But a large majority of the institutions may lose their relevance, which is not good, because there are certain uncanny advantages of the conventional education system, which I will mention as we go ahead. So when MOOCs are recognized, a great disruption will occur, and that process has started. And these days processes work at internet speed. So they don't give you 3 or 4 decades. They don't even give you 3 or 4 years. They start making changes very rapidly. We have seen the change occurring in the business world. 91 to 93, the first wave came. And within few years, the entire gamut of commercial transactions got changed completely. Disintermediation of practically everything else. The revolution that happened in the commerce transactions was predicted to happen next in education and healthcare. And that has started happening now. And unlike the commercial entrepreneurs who understood that value very early and adopted, educational systems are not adapting to these changes, is one of the concerns that I have.